Hello, my name is Tammy Minter. Thank you for having this conversation with me about safety through effective leadership. So I've been a leader now for 37 plus years, and I've learned a lot through trial and error. I had no professional training on how to lead. I was just good at my job, and I was promoted to lead people to do the same. I definitely made errors along the way. I thought my way was the only way, and I was fortunate enough to have some excellent leaders to teach me how to lead. And for most of us, we continue to learn daily on how to effectively connect with people and how we can make an impact in everyone's life. So we need to define an effective leader, and we'll do that here in a little bit. But let's think about leadership. It's not all about managing people. All of us are leaders, and we may not have the title, but it's important for all of us to know how to lead well. So let's get started. Today, we want to guide our organizational leaders to empower their employees to make decisions, speak up about concerns, and take ownership of the work they do each day. Organizational leaders, effective managers, and supervisors need to see their employees as the solution for workplace safety concerns. So I'm going to repeat this. We want to see our employees as solutions to work safely, not as problems, but as solutions. So if we want to build an organization of leaders, this program identifies ways to foster trust, develop active listening skills, and how to demonstrate care and concern for employees to build a culture of safety. This is really what most leaders want. So trust, listening, and empathy are key to building a strong culture. But what does this even look like? It really goes beyond specific safety policies and programs, but captures the mindsets and behaviors towards safety of all stakeholders, employees, managers, and their leaders. A positive culture in the work environment is critical to the success and effectiveness of any organization. So a lack of safety culture often means safety initiatives are not bought into by the employees and often fail, leading to higher rates of injury and accidents within the work environment. Think about your organization right now. When was the last time an employee brought a solution or a hazard to you? Or do you have a piece of equipment that's broken, but the employee is forced to work on it anyway? And as you walk through your facility and eyewear is required, but employees are not wearing it? So these are just some good examples of a lack of a safety culture. Organizations with strong safety culture often experience increased employee productivity, high employee engagement, lower turnover, decreased rates of injury or accidents. So let's look at some characteristics of strong culture of safety, which may differ from organization to organization. Organizational leaders value employee safety. Leaders value their expertise and the work they bring to the table. Leaders allow employees to help solve problems. Managers are committed to changing the work environment for the better. Leaders take ownership no matter what. Leaders also understand those high-risk tasks. Employees feel empowered to take action without fear or being fired. And employees feel ownership over the safety of themselves and team members. Investments are made in safety procedures, programs, and equipment. So today, we're going to dive in to discuss 3 ways you can build a culture of safety. So before we begin, we are going to start by defining the role of a good organizational leader. So let's just take a moment and let's just reflect on how you would identify as a good leader. Recall those past managers you've worked with, or consider organizations that you admire and the leaders who have driven their success. So what kind of a person comes to mind? What qualities or behaviors make them stand out to you? Perhaps you remember a leader who excelled at connecting with your team to the organization's greater vision. Or maybe you think about a manager whose personal mentorship greatly advanced your personal growth. So while many of us can intuitively discern what makes a leader effective or not, few of us really take the time to truly understand what leadership actually means or what defines a strong leader. Today, we will discuss ways to become an effective leader through fostering trust, develop active listening skills, and practice care and concern for the employees. Now that we have a roadmap for today's training, let's get started and identify ways to foster trust. So what does trust mean to you? So think about trust. Think about trust in your professional lives. Think about trust in your personal experiences. Think about your friends, colleagues, mentors, or professionals that you trust. What behaviors make these people trustworthy? So I recall a leader that assigned me a project and trusted my ability to lead without questioning my every move. I was able to fail, learn, and carry out the task that I was given. And my leader could have done this task without much time, but he needed to teach me so I could lead others and support the company's greater mission. So in comparison, think about a person you don't trust and why. What behaviors make you feel skeptical? Go ahead and put them in the chat box if you'd like. So I recall one of my leaders who was actually a personal friend, but at work they were completely different. I felt I could do nothing right in their eyes. I would describe this person as a micromanager, very controlling. I felt helpless and looked for other opportunities. I'm sure you've heard people leave their jobs because of the way that their supervisor or manager treated them. I believe this is to be true because of lack of trust with my leader. Let's look at a few characteristics of a leader who has a difficult time with trust. So they may avoid conflicts or is closed off to discussion or differing opinions. They reprimand employees for speaking up. They break promises. And they focus on compliance. They fail to communicate. They send mixed messages, which can be very confusing. Expresses doubt by micromanaging employees or questioning employees' every move. They assume trust instead of taking the time to build trust. So to those listeners today, trust is not built overnight. It really takes time and practice. So you can't give up on this. And I hope that you can see that trust is critical to building those long-term relationships and earning the confidence of your employees. To develop trust, leaders need to prove that they're acting in the best interest of the employees. You can do that by being honest and reliable, demonstrating competence and integrity, and making a personal connection with every employee that you meet. And don't give employees reason to distrust you. So I'm going to give you 5 tips to become an effective leader and trusted, confident in the eyes of your employees. So it's important to be honest. Honesty is just not about telling the truth. It's about being open, upfront, and transparent with your employees. Being reliable. Employees will experience dependability and consistency over time. And be competent. A competent person shows skill, knowledge, expertise, or capability. Having thorough knowledge about your solution, industry, and vision will demonstrate competence to the employees. And leading with integrity. Integrity is critical to fostering trust, acting out of goodwill, doing the right thing, and upholding strong moral or ethical standards all indicate integrity. Building rapport. So building rapport requires trust. A good relationship or feeling closeness, familiarity, or shared understanding between people. Having a good rapport with your employees, it allows them to come with you with problems and also solutions in the workplace. So now that we've established how to build trust with our employees, let's discuss how we can build trust by practicing active listening. So in the workplace, active listening skills can help you reduce mistakes, resolve challenging situations, negotiate, and build quality relationships. But listening is just not about a passive process. Listening takes effort and concentration. When done right, listening cultivates understanding, and even more, it shows a speaker that you understand and care about their message. So to get started, I'm going to share a riddle with you. You're welcome to take some notes, but you're not required. So here we go. An elevator is on the ground floor. There are 4 people in the elevator, including me. And when the elevator reaches the first floor, 1 person gets out and 3 people get in. The elevator goes up to the second floor, 2 people get out and 6 people get in. The elevator then goes to the next floor. No one gets out, but 12 people get in. Halfway to the next floor, the elevator gets stuck. Everyone is stuck in the elevator except for me. How am I the only one not stuck in the elevator? So how many of you got this right? So we all heard the same story. And as I'm seeing in the chat box, yet few answered the questions correctly. How many of us just quit listening when we got confused or lost in the shuffle of the story? And I was actually speaking slow. Have you experienced times when people seem to quit listening when you're giving instructions? How many of us replayed the story to figure out the answer or wanted to ask clarifying questions? If I had told you initially that you could win some money, would you have listened more attentively? How can we ensure better listening without rewards? So think about your onboarding. Think about onboarding a new employee. You show them how to do a task, and maybe there's many steps to the process. Are they going to be able to execute the task when they're alone? Are you sure? So as we think about that, we have to remember that the average person listens with only 25% efficiency, but listening amounts to 45% of communication process. Therefore, this is a skill we will continuously need to develop. So let's discuss some key ways to practice active listening. Active listening is really about paying attention to someone's words, their tone, voice, and expressions. Unlike hearing, which is automatic, listening does take work. And we need to be engaged, alert, and place all of our focus on the speaker. And it takes determination and concentration. When we listen actively, we will listen to understand and not just hear. So how to actively listen? Avoid distractions, keep an open mind, focus on the speaker, not yourself, and don't interrupt, which I have to work on all the time. And how do you show you're actively listening? Use those nonverbal cues to help demonstrate that you're listening, such as, yes, I understand. And then summarize or paraphrase what you've heard and ask relevant questions pertinent to the information that has just been shared with you. By focusing on understanding, paying attention, and showing the speaker you're engaged, you can strengthen your listening skills and demonstrate care and concern for employees. Next, let's discuss how demonstrating care and concern for employees promotes a culture of safety. So imagine one of your employees recently lost a family member and is returning to work today. Take a moment to reflect on how you would like to respond to your employee. What would you want to say? So here are a few prompts to consider. Do you want to be empathetic to your employee? But what does that mean? Should you say something and give them, the team member, their space? Should you hand them a sympathy card and say, I'm sorry for your loss? Or should you try imagining yourself in this person's place so that you can better understand how they're feeling and what they need? If you chose the last option, then you chose to express empathy. Empathy is a social skill that involves thinking beyond your personal reality and considering that of another. For leaders, it's an important mental leap that helps you to understand what your employees are feeling and what they need as individuals. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in another person's place and consider their perspective. Unlike sympathy, which involves recognizing another person's emotions and expressing pity for them, empathy requires understanding. And when you understand your staff and communicate with empathy, it cultivates a more prosperous work environment that leads to improved communication, productivity, trust, and morale, which leads to creating a culture of safety. To develop empathy, you must stretch your imagination, quiet your thoughts, and listen to understand another's feelings. To develop this competency, you need to practice active listening. You have to be present and you have to unplug. Put yourself in your employee's place and work alongside them. Stay curious and ask questions, and practice relating to feelings rather than just events. Empathy is a skill that takes some practice, just like listening, but it's worth the extra effort. Soon you'll improve your understanding of what your team needs and how you as a leader can contribute to promoting a culture of safety. Now that we've defined and created shared understanding of how to foster trust, practice active listening, and empathy, let's discuss how you can apply these concepts for your organization. So take a moment, reflect on how you will cultivate a positive culture of safety for your organization. How to make employees feel valued, prioritize the safety of employees, empower employees to take action, encourage employees to take ownership over the safety of themselves and team members, invest in safety procedures, programs, and equipment. So as you're thinking about this, think about your work practices in your organization. Think about how you interview applicants, how you onboard your employees, how you develop training, and is your training effective? How do you communicate safety to your employees? How do you learn from your employees? What does your inspection process look like? How do you identify hazards in your workplace? Do you have a reporting program for all incidents? What's your result of your investigations? And how do you communicate that back to your employees? How can we apply trust, active listening, and empathy to these practices? We talk about effective leadership as going beyond work practices and your safety programs. So we encourage you to consider these three concepts of taking your safety culture to the next level. So let's summarize real quick. To promote a culture of safety, it's important to foster trust, practice active listening, and demonstrate care and concern for employees. When your staff knows they can trust you, that you're willing to listen and communicate with empathy and cultivate a more prosperous work environment that leads to improved communication, productivity, trust, and morale, which leads to creating a culture of safety. So thank you for participating in today's training. So thank you for your time.